Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Keara, and on this channel I primarily post lifestyle videos such as what I eat in a day, my morning routine, as well as fashion, technology, and now personal finance videos. So this video is a little different than what I normally do, only because I just started my full-time job. I'm managing my own finances now. I'm trying to budget and save for the future, and everyone I try to talk to is either in retirement, close to retirement, and doesn't really know my finances. It's just complicated. I figured why not hop on here when I try to look things up. Not a lot of people in their 20s are creating videos like this, so I figured I would make it to provide to the masses. Just want to put out a disclaimer out there that I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial consultant, and I'm not an expert by any means in this topic. I am just going to show you guys some tips and tricks that I use in my daily life on how to budget and save my income. That's just a little disclaimer. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you take something away from this video, then great. If you don't, then I'm sorry. And it's just trial and error, and there's a lot of research that has to go into your finances and budgeting and all that. I did major in economics in school, and I understand finance and econ and all that stuff, so I do have some idea and some knowledge when it comes to finances and whatnot. But again, like I said, I am not an expert by any means. With that being said, let's just get right on into the video. Okay, so I have my little notebook here. I have a lot of my tips and tricks in my notebook written down for you guys, so if I ever look down or look away, it's probably because I'm looking here to make sure I give you guys the best information that I can today. So if you're a complete newbie and don't know anything about budgeting or what a budget even is, a budget is basically how you allocate your money into different categories per month. And so every month you allocate that money to your rent, car payments, student loans, restaurants, groceries, shopping, so on and so forth. And everyone's budget looks different than one another because not everyone makes the same amount of income, not everyone has a steady income, and not everyone has the same needs and wants as you do. So it's important to only look at your budget and what you're making and how you want to categorize everything you're using and making, rather than look at the person next to you. So it's important to not compare yourself to others and to just understand even better what you have and focus and hone in on yourself rather than look at those around you. And I know that's hard, but it's something that we all just have to learn. When it comes to budgeting, I recommend looking at your past 3 months expenses. So you want to look at your past 3 months expenses so you can understand how much you're making monthly and how much of each category you're spending in a month, so that you can then understand how much money you want to allocate to each category. So you want to look at your monthly income post taxes. So whatever is coming into your bank account every week, every 2 weeks is what you want to look into, and then you want to look at what you're spending. So a way I would do this typically for me is I use the app Mint, and Mint basically connects to my bank account, to my credit card, and to my retirement accounts, so that I can just check on it, and whenever I spend something, it puts it into a category for me. So if I went to Target and bought a ton of clothes, it puts Target and the dollar amount I spend into a category and is telling me, okay, I have spent $56 out of my $100 budget on shopping this month, for an example. But the one thing about Mint is, say I went to Target and I bought groceries and clothes and books, it will just put it in the shopping category, and it won't just spread it out equally into the grocery shopping category, into the miscellaneous category, because it just recognizes Target as a name brand rather than breaking it up by the receipt item. So sometimes what I do is also just track it all at the end of the month in an Excel sheet and then manually do it all myself. But I know that can be a little daunting for some. So honestly, there's a million apps out there to help you save money, figure out your expenses. You can do it manually, literally figure out the way you like to do it and just stick to it. So once you have your 3 months expenses in front of you, and once you understand how much you're making monthly and how much you're spending monthly, you can then allocate different amounts of money into each category. So what I like to use is the 50-30-20 rule, which basically means 50% of your monthly income goes to the things you need. And the things you need can range from rent, car payments, groceries, medicine, things of that nature. So it's things that you need to survive. And then 30% of your money then goes into your wants, which can include eating out, shopping, home decor, travel, subscriptions such as Apple Music and Spotify, and like gym memberships. And then the last bit of your money is the 20%, which goes into your savings, but it all doesn't have to be allocated into your savings account. It can be allocated into your retirement accounts, your savings, paying off your student loans, paying off your credit card debt. That's where all your money is going to go to. Those are the big percentages that each category should fit into. But again, it doesn't have to be so rigid. It doesn't have to be 50, 30, 20. Right now, mine looks like 3 for needs, 25 for wants, and 72 for savings, because I'm currently living at home, so I don't have any money to pay for rent. Whatever money I would have been using for those things, I'm currently putting off and putting them into my student loan so that I can pay them off quicker. Like I mentioned earlier, yours might look completely different than mine. Yours might not look like the 50, 30, 20. It's good to just understand that rule so that you can then better allocate your money into those different big umbrella categories of needs, wants, and savings. Okay, and so then moving on is your credit cards. And credit cards can be tricky. The quote that I live by is to never spend your money before you've earned it. And by this I mean, when you open up a credit card, you think you have all this free money. You probably have a certain limit that you can spend on that credit card, and you think that money is just free, so you go off and frivolously spend whatever you want and just put it on that credit card. But in reality, you don't actually have free money. That's money that you buy things with and you then have to pay back, and if you don't pay it back in time, then you have to pay a huge interest on that, and that is not good, and all of this can detrimentally affect your credit scores. When you're looking at credit cards, or when you're looking at spending on your credit card, it's important to know how much you're spending and whether or not you'd be able to pay off whatever you're spending it on. A rule of thumb that I use is whenever I'm spending on my credit card, it's typically on groceries or on things that I need, and then I'll go ahead and at the end of the week or at the end of the month, I'll just pay it off because I know I have that money in my current checking account, and then I'll just transfer it over onto my credit card so that I don't have to pay the interest on any of those items. Credit card world can be tricky. There's so many different credit card categories out there. There's hotel credit cards, there's reward credit cards, there's travel cards, there's student cards, retail cards, cashback, gas credit cards, literally so many out there. So it's important to know what kind of things you're looking for in a credit card. The credit card I have right now is the Student IT card, which is a credit card that's kind of geared more towards high school and college students, and it has some nice benefits for students, such as if you get a 3.0 or better in a semester, you can then submit your report card, and then you can get $20 just for having good grades in school. So that's a credit card I really recommend for high school or college students, but also make sure you do your research before you open credit cards, and don't just start submitting a ton of applications for credit cards, because that can also affect your credit score negatively. And then I mentioned this not too long ago is retirement, and this is kind of where your savings goes to. So it's important to start saving early and start saving now for retirement, especially now that we're in our late teens and in our 20s, because right now we can be putting in a little less each month to put towards retirement, and the compound interest will work very much in our favor compared to if you started saving for retirement when you're 50 and 10 years away from retirement. You're gonna have to put in a lot more money to make that compound interest work for you, because you have such a shorter time span than we do right now in our late teens and our 20s. So even just putting $20 away a month and not getting Chipotle 2 times that month, or putting $50 away a month, will benefit you greatly in the future. So think of your future self now that you're young. And then another type of account is the 401k. And I know when I first started working a month ago, I was like, what the heck is this? What are these number and letter combinations? They're kind of confusing, and they still are a little confusing, but basically a 401k is also a retirement account that most jobs offer to their employees, in which they usually give a matching percentage to you. For example, a job might match 8% of everything you put in there monthly, or 3% what you put in there monthly. So honestly, if your employer does offer a 401k and does offer a match to you, I would definitely jump on that option immediately, because that is technically like free money, because you're putting a certain amount in every month and they are giving you an extra dollar amount every month because they're matching a percentage of what you put in. It's important to do your research very well before you open any of these accounts. If you don't have any understanding, I would either ask your parents or look for a mentor, or you could also get a financial advisor who knows these things way more than I do. So if you need any more help, there's plenty of resources out there for you to use. Kind of going around saving for the future, I also recommend having an emergency fund. An emergency fund is basically you save money and set it aside that will cover basically 3 to 6 months of your salary just in case of emergency. Say your car broke down and you need to buy a new car, or you have a medical emergency, or even like right now, COVID, literally anything can happen and people lost their jobs, and a lot of people don't have emergency accounts. So if you start setting aside a bit of money every month for this emergency account, you can be a little more safer if any of these big things do happen to you. I hope they don't, but just in case, it's always nice to have that, and that way you're not dipping into your savings accounts or your retirement accounts for those emergencies, and you already have that money set aside. And then lastly, it's important to have short and long-term goals. So for example, right now my long-term goal is to pay off my student loans. I don't want to have to pay more than I need to because their interest rates can be high, and my short-term goal could be saving money for a vacation, or saving money for a new camera, or for like a certain purse or whatever. All of you will have different short and long-term goals, but it's important to understand what those goals are and how you're setting money aside every paycheck or every month to afford those goals. It's all about budgeting. It's all about understanding your money and your finances, and I think it's really, really important to make sure you're constantly looking at your finances so that you know if you're spending too much in some areas and you don't have enough for all these other areas. That way it's just easier to visualize your money, visualize your spending, and understand where your money is coming from and where it's going towards. With that being said, this is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you take something away from this. If you don't take anything away from this, I strongly recommend that you listen to this, is to start saving now for retirement, because a little does go a long way when it comes to planning for your future. So look into your Roth IRA, talk to your parents, talk to an advisor, because saving $20 a month now will do greatly in the future. I know this video is a little different than what I normally do on my channel, but I hope you guys still enjoy it, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like my content and want to watch more of my videos. And for now, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!